When it comes to Mortal Kombat, there's a few things you have to get right. Good fight scenes, good acting, good story, and obviously the good music, and lastly, gore. Well, this film definitely had the gore, so much so, there is actually advisory warnings for this video. In the Berry Terry, there will be gore. You have been warned. But that's what's good about the film. Let's talk about what's wrong with it. I'm Berryman, and this is 10 Things Wrong with Mortal Kombat 2021. Mortal Kombat is a 2021 martial arts fantasy film based on the video game franchise of the same name and a reboot of the Mortal Kombat film series. The film tells the story of Huang, a washed-up martial arts fighter who is unaware of his hidden lineage or why assassin Sub-Zero is hunting him down. Concerned for the safety of his family, he seeks out a clique of fighters that were chosen to defend Earthrealm against Outworld. Following the critical and commercial failure of the last Mortal Kombat film, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the third Mortal Kombat film was actually scrapped and left in development hell for 2 decades before Warner Bros. Decided to reboot the franchise. It was released on the 8th of April 2021. The film received mixed reviews from critics who praised its action sequences, musical score, acting, visual effects and faithfulness and references to the source material, but criticised its screenplay, pacing and introduction of a new lead character unrelated to the game. But what have I found wrong with this film? Well, let's find out with 10 Things Wrong with Mortal Kombat 2021. Number 10. Techno Syndrome. To be fair, doing the music for this film was never going to be an easy task. The last 2 films, one of the praising points was its musical score. Hell, even Mortal Kombat Annihilation, a film that was slated even by me, I only gave Mortal Kombat Annihilation 2 out of 10, had a decent musical score. That's one of the 2 out of 10. So following that up, it had to be perfect. Benjamin Wulfsfall, I think that's how you pronounce his name. In the actual film, his musical score is spot on. It was fantastic. I've actually listened to the album on Spotify. Literally, go and listen, especially to the last 4 or 5 tracks. They are amazing. They are brilliant tracks that you can listen to on their own, and it just emphasises this film perfectly. Except for when it came to Techno Syndrome itself. His version, his remix version of that, yeah, not so good. It started off fantastically, started off brilliantly, and then went downhill very, very quickly. Now, I do think this is more because of my personal musical taste, and I grew up in the era where Techno Syndrome was the age, and this version of Techno Syndrome is more today's music, which I'm 40, I'm not into. But yeah, to me, that version of Techno Syndrome was ruined. But the music for the rest of the film, spot on. Number 9, Tournament. So the basic concept of Mortal Kombat is if one realm wants to invade another realm, they have to have a fight. That tournament fight is called Mortal Kombat, and to conquer the other realm, you have to win 10 in a row. That's the basis of Mortal Kombat ever since it started back in 1992. This film does not have a tournament. Or does it? I never worked it out. I mean, it starts off, Shang Tsung wants to actually kill Earth's fighters before they get to the tournament. I'm pretty sure that if you wipe out the tournament, they can call foul and you'll lose the tournament, and that was a bad idea, but there's no actual tournament. Or is there? Like I said, when they go into the void and come back, apparently then they're in the tournament. On the soundtrack, there is a track called The Tournament, but to me, it wasn't a proper tournament. It was like the bad guys get to attack the good guys, that's against the rules. The good guys attack the bad guys, oh, tournament started. It didn't really make much sense. It's Mortal Kombat. I want a proper tournament. Is that too much to ask for? Number 8, Huang. Strangely enough, I write the intro to these videos after I actually I'll make it up as I'm filming. So I find it quite bizarrely that one of the biggest criticism is the fact that the lead character was Huang, and I've said that and the critics said it must be really, really bad. But let's face it, Huang is a unique character. He's never been in the games. There is around about, I guess, 80 playable characters across the entire Mortal Kombat franchise. Now, if you wanted to add someone new as a focal point for the audience, look how Paul Anderson did it in his version of Mortal Kombat. He had art, a disposable character, but that disposable character was us, just as unknown eyes into the tournament, and that worked perfectly. But in this film, you've taken away someone we wanted to see. Anyone, hell, even the big fat guy who just drinks all the time. He would have been a more interesting character than Cole Young. Number 7, special powers. Let's face it, when we play Mortal Kombat, we do it for the moves. There's so many awesome moves. Every character has an awesome special move. Let's face it, Scorpion, get over here. Awesome. So, have the games ever explained how these powers work? No. Does us as fans even care? No. So why is the film telling us how these powers work? Let's face it, nobody cared. I don't care if it was an inner magical source or someone just coming around and went, this is your special power, or it's just happened. It's just there. We don't care. You don't have to make this film realistic. You don't have to explain every minor little detail about this game or film. They've got special powers. Deal with it. Number 6, chosen ones. This is pretty much the same as the last entry. We don't actually care why these characters are actually entering Mortal Kombat, but the games do actually give us reasons. Sonya's chasing after Kano, Johnny Cage is trying to prove he's the best in the world, and Liu Kang's the only one they're actually deliberately trying to save the world. Okay, so in this film, how do these people go into the tournament? A mark appears on their body. Really? Why? Seriously, no. It was like, we need to find a way to take Sonya out without actually being sexist. Let's make all the men have a mark and the women do not have a mark. Sorry, you're being sexist there just because you've hid it. And I didn't like the fact that's how these fighters were chosen. They all were in the tournament for their own personal reasons. And bizarrely enough, those personal reasons we got behind. It's one of the reasons why we loved the arrogant jerk Johnny Cage. It's one of the reasons why we rooted for Sonya Cage for vengeance. But yeah, why? You can be in Mortal Kombat if you have a tattoo or birthmark. It just doesn't. No, it's not Mortal Kombat. Number 5, money. So Sonya Blade wants to try and find the temple where Raiden is. Okay, I get that. I understand that she's trying to manipulate Kano by saying, I will pay you $2 million. And he turns around and haggles and says $3 million, to which she agrees. I get that. Even Kano knows she doesn't actually have the money. I get that. What I don't get is he walks through the door and she admits she doesn't have the money. He's literally walked through that door. You're living in a caravan. You can hear everything that goes on outside. He's now just been told you're conning him. Seriously, this film is just stupid, really. There's so many idiotic things that are not Mortal Kombat. Number 4, names. Now this one seems to be a current Hollywood trope where when a character is actually being introduced, they make a big deal out of their name. It started off, bizarrely enough, Star Trek Into Darkness. My name is Khan. Okay, what was the point in that? But this film does it as well. And us as fans know the characters. People who are not fans just want to see a good film. They don't actually care. But when people come in and say, this is Liu Kang, this is Lord Raiden, why are you making big deals out of people's names? Now, I don't go up to introduce to people and say, I am Berryman. No, I go up and say, hi, I'm Scott. See, there's the difference, and that's more realistic, and I'm not an actor. But making a big deal, Prince Goro, although he could have been, he'll come up a bit later as well. But why? I don't get why Hollywood are making big deals out of names. Number 3, Cole's specials power. Sorry, I know I've mentioned Cole, and yes, I've mentioned special powers, but This one did deserve its own entry. Cole's special power. He has a suit that absorbs damage. Seriously, no one would have ever picked that. Half the stuff about these games, especially when you have to fight the bosses, Shang Tsung in the first game, Shao Kahn in the second game, and you're beating when you're hitting and he's doing no damage, and when you finally beat them, that joy, that excitement is undescribable. You would never pick the character where you're like, I'm invincible, I'm invincible. Because if I wanted to be invincible, I'd get a game genie and actually put in the code to be invincible. That also shows how old I am if you don't know what a game genie is. But it is idiotic. I once talked to friends of mine to actually buy Final Fantasy 15, and he hated me for it because he bought it with a special offer with invincibility suit, so they didn't take any damage, and he said it ruined the game for him. There was no challenge to it, and I sort of understand that. Why would you purposely buy and play a game where you know you cannot lose, unless you're playing Football Manager and with a super hot team? But no, it's not realistic, it's not gameplay realistic. And yeah, no, I didn't really enjoy that. Unfortunately, that also ties in with the next point. Number 2, Goro. So this is the second time Goro has been on the big screen. He looks better, he looks meaner, and yeah, the effects look so much better. So why do I get the feeling that Goro from the 1997 version is more tougher than this one? Because this one went out like a pansy. That was the beauty of that one. Why Art, the disposable character, was perfect, because you sent him in to fight Goro, he dies. You actually got to see the ease and effortless how Goro could kill. You got that impression that he is an unstoppable monster. And it took Johnny Cage's wit to defeat him. This film, yeah, okay, granted he was throwing Cole around a lot and beating him senseless, but then Cole got his special powers and then that was it. He sort of just took him out actually awfully quick. And yeah, Goro, one of the hardest characters in the first game, was taken out like a bitch. Number 1, The Pit. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I've actually seen this film twice. Now, I watched the film when it first came out because I was that excited to watch it. But then I've watched it a second time for this review, and both times, one part of this film has got me. And that was the Jax versus Reiko fight. It is set in a part that looks like it's ripped straight from the pit. More for the pit from the second Mortal Kombat film, but it looks like exactly from that. So I'm expecting Jax, because let's face it, we're approaching the end of the film, Jax to do the uppercut, Reiko goes flying down the edge and falling down the pit to his death. We got a different fatality. Whack! Now, if the scene was set anywhere else, that fatality would be awesome. But the fact you've set it in a scene where you look like it's the pit level from the games, I wanted a pit fatality. You've ruined the fatality you gave us by the scenery, and I think this is the first time I've ever said that, but I wanted a pit. Oh, hell, put some love and put a Wilhelm screaming in it. It would have been funny, but why give us a pit scenery with no pit fatality? You weren't shy of doing fatalities in this film. Final thoughts. So this is the third live-action Mortal Kombat film. The first one was beloved. It told the story perfectly, and one of the biggest things was no gore in it. The second Mortal Kombat film was just a complete and utter bad acting, bad story, bad effects, bad everything. And yeah, we can forget about Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But looking at the original Mortal Kombat, Paul Anderson, he got the heart and soul of the game and actually made a perfect recreation of the first Mortal Kombat film with the same ending for Mortal Kombat 2. It was brilliant. We loved it. This film does not follow that. It doesn't really follow the story of Mortal Kombat. It does use the characters, and it is based on Mortal Kombat, but it seems to be set before a tournament. Now, I know it hints that the end of this film is a tournament, but it's not shouting it out. I do know there's a sequel in the works, and I know there's rumours, and I'm praying to God that The Miz is going to play Johnny Cage, because I think he's perfect as it. But I didn't get the sense that this was a Mortal Kombat film. Now, don't get me wrong, there are so many good things about it. I love the music, I love the special effects, and I love the fact that fatalities were in. I love the fact that the characters really look like the characters from the game, even more so than the original 1997 Mortal Kombat, and even that did a very good job. It's just, to me, it just doesn't feel Mortal Kombat. But annoyingly, it's a really good film. And I'm very conflicted. I'm saying it's not Mortal Kombat, or to me, it doesn't feel like Mortal Kombat. I know that it was praised for its faithfulness. I disagree. I don't think it was that faithful. It was faithful to the characters, bar Cole. It was faithful to the look, but it was just no tournament. And that, I can't get that out of my head. That's the one thing that this film needed. It would have been up there, is the tournament. But you didn't do it, and to me, no. That I can't let go. But it is still a good film, and the fact I loved we got a proper Scorpion versus Sub-Zero fight, and it's the ending. Making Cole Young a descendant of Scorpion wasn't the best and cleverest idea, but the final fight was amazing. The choreography is so much better than the other films. There's so much right and so much wrong. It's like they wanted to make a good film and got so much wrong, and it's really hard to describe this film, because that's the annoying thing, is it is a good film. It's just, I can't get the Mortal Kombat part out. And that's the biggest problem. But I'm not going to be overly harsh, because at the end of the day, I've watched this film twice. Both times I've been hooked to it. And as I said on this channel, 9 times out of 10, that's what you want. You want to be encapsulated, you want to be drawn in. And I was drawn in. Even with all the stuff I don't like about this, I was drawn into this film. So, with great pleasure, I am proud to announce that I'm going to give this 8 out of 10 berries. And it was so well deserved. On to next week. Because coming up there is a Power Rangers fight coming up in the US, I'm actually going to do the Power Rangers remake film. Not the YouTube reboot film that was really good, starring Katie Sackhoff. Go and watch that. It's nothing to do with what I'm going to review, but I would recommend watching that. But yeah, I'm going to do Power Rangers, so come back next Sunday, 6 o'clock. Take care. Bye-bye.